In this video, we're going to move on and continue to lay a foundation of understanding by defining some additional key words and essential terms. A big part of living a mystical lifestyle involves the so-called purgation of our worldly attachments. We talked in the last video about how attachments are the bad habits or obsessive priorities that can add dysfunction to our lives. And I know purgation is another strange and awkward sounding word, but purgation gets back to when we talked earlier about how the Apostle Paul said that he died daily. The idea behind purgation is that all of us need to purge or otherwise reject any habits or priorities or attachments that threaten to come between us and God. The answer is easy to understand in theory, but hard to do in everyday practice. We're going to find out that a certain amount of preparation is required by a person before he or she can enjoy the kind and quality of close personal relationship with God that Christian mystics are said to experience and enjoy. To truly live the way Jesus Christ did and to become fully united with God requires some early and hard effort. A person must work and make progress by abandoning their idolatries, their vanities, their pride, addictions, worldly obsessions, toxic priorities, or any other attachments that make intimate union with God impossible. God needs to become the priority in your life. Living a lifestyle that mirrors the teachings of Jesus Christ must become our priority. It's a tall order. And right about now, you might be thinking, whoa, being a follower of Jesus sounds like hard work. I'm a person with too many problems. I can't do this. If that sounds like you, let's make sure we understand what we're talking about here. Let's clarify our words a little more. For example, do not confuse the advanced contemplative prayer and unity meditation we associate with advanced mystical practices with what the Christian church calls its basic message of salvation. These are two completely different things. Please keep these two things, mysticism versus salvation, separate in your mind. We're going to see that Christian mystics are kind of like spiritual superstars. They are rock stars when it comes to doing prayer and meditation. But you don't have to be a superstar person to be a follower of Jesus. In fact, Christian salvation is a first step towards spiritual growth and character development. I called salvation an important baby step where anyone can choose to accept Jesus Christ into their lives. You don't need to have it all together to one day go to heaven and live with God in the afterlife for eternity. This whole idea of being saved, and I don't know if you've heard that churchy phrase before, being saved, but it has to do with a change that must take place in our attitudes. To get saved, you need to surrender and turn full control of your life over to the loving God of the universe. If you do that, you can start to enjoy the mercies and supernatural advantages of having God more fully touch your life. If you turn your circumstances and your fate over to Him, God can more fully bless you, and good things can happen in this life, starting right here and right now. It's all about a person adopting a willingness of the heart and of the mind. Achieving salvation just means you decide to stop trying to be your own boss. I understand this can be uncomfortable for many people. Much of the time, people don't want to give up control of what's happening around them. Often, individuals turn to God only after they've hit rock bottom in their experiences. They've tried to navigate life on their own terms and it became a big mess. At that point, people often become desperate and are finally willing to consider alternatives. It's then that a lot of folks become open to turning control of their lives over to God. Our brokenness, our mistakes, our bad past history, our poor life choices, none of these things are barriers to receiving the free gift of salvation, which is really just love of God in your life. Christian salvation is a kind of unmerited favor from God. It's totally unearned. It's totally undeserved. You don't need to be good enough to get it. You don't need to be a rock star, superstar person who has all the right answers. Salvation is for those of us who are broken and imperfect. It's a new start in life, and it can be yours simply by asking and accepting it as a free gift. You know, you could accept God into your life right now as you watch this video. It's all about embracing a change in your state of mind and consciousness. It's all about making a decision to accept and acknowledge Jesus for who He is. Jesus is God, and you can receive the blessings of a future life in heaven with God by accepting for yourself the death and resurrection of Jesus. Jesus Christ was the one who died for the mistakes, the bad choices, the so-called sins of humanity. But then Jesus overcame death. Stop a minute. Imagine being so powerful that you can overcome any challenge, even death. The Bible tells us Jesus did exactly that. Therefore, the members of the Christian church believe Jesus Christ, He must be God. He came to earth in the form of a man, taught us the right and healthy way to live on earth, but then ultimately returned to heaven where He sits on His throne to this very day. Jesus remains alive in spirit, and it's through Him that we too can one day overcome death and live in spiritual paradise. This spiritual paradise is an afterlife state of being. It's something Christians call heaven. Heaven is something to be realized and enjoyed in the future. But like I said earlier, once you allow God into your life, you can also begin to unleash the loving power of the supernatural right now to make your current life on this planet better. So basically, I just gave you all of Christianity in a nutshell. And if you should choose to accept Jesus Christ as your leader and as the one who paid the price for all your life's mistakes and poor choices, you can become a Christ follower right now, right where you are, just as you are. As you watch this video, simply agree with me now that Jesus Christ is the God of the universe. Agree that He sacrificed Himself for your sake, for my sake, and for all of humanity. Agree that Jesus suffered a terrible physical death so that you and I can live forever in spiritual wholeness and incredible joy. If you now adopt this basic understanding and agree to accept Jesus as your role model for the remainder of your life, I mean, if you really want this to happen, then you are now a follower of Christ. You are now a member of Jesus' church. It's just that simple. Hey, if you just made up your mind and became a Jesus follower while watching this video, please tell me about your decision. It would be so amazing to hear from you. Just go to my ericrod.com website and hit the subscribe button and send me a message using the online form. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd enjoy welcoming you to God's spiritual family as my new brother or sister in Christ. Thank you for watching my video series. I hope to see you next time.